This is the finished product here. Just a haunted pumpkin patch, I guess. I'm going to start off by painting the background just black and gray. I want it to be kind of misty looking. I do a quick outline with a white acrylic pencil. Then I'm just kind of painting the tops and leaving the bottom parts of these gravestones unfinished so that it has like a misty look to it. I wind up actually painting over this at the end. Alright, now I'm painting like the mid-ground here. I have a little bit of an outline of a gravestone there, and then just working on these pumpkins that are sitting behind it a ways. I don't want it to be too defined here because I want it to look like mist is in front of it, or fog is in front of it. As this one moves closer to the foreground, I give it a little bit more detail than the ones that are behind it. You can see a little bit more definition, some more contrast. I wind up going back and highlighting this front pumpkin just a little bit more than the others, or just a little bit more than it is here. I'm moving to the foreground now, so this is the gravestone. I want this to kind of look like rock or granite or something. I want it to look weathered, and so that's why I use the knife there to kind of get that rough look. I'm still using acrylics here to paint everything because I want it to dry fast so that I can get on to the most forward part of the foreground, which is a little pumpkin that's going to be at the base of this gravestone. And I'm still using the same colors as I used in the background here, the same gray, the same black. The only thing that I'm adding in is a little bit of ultramarine blue for the shadows. As I'm working on this, I really like the way the lettering looks, and I like the way that the cracks look, but I feel like it's such a blank gravestone that I come back in, I add some like decoration to it, some recessed parts. My light source is coming from right to left and kind of down, and that's why the shadows are the way they are on those recessed parts. Darker spots are on the right side and up top. Okay, so I'm just using a Sharpie marker here to go back in because my white acrylic pencil keeps rubbing off when I work on it. I really want that blue shadow side standing out, and so I lighten that up with some white. You see how bright that is, but it does kind of make a cool shadow effect. Almost like reflected light coming from the other side of the pumpkin. And I want a lot of contrast on this one. I want really bright highlights and really dark shadows or shading in the deep parts of the pumpkin and on the bottom side of the pumpkin. It's always hard to get the glow when you're doing a jack-o'-lantern like this. It's hard to get it to look like the inside is glowing. And I find that if I just use white, maybe mix with a little bit of yellow here and there, if I just use white for the inside of the eyes and the nose and the mouth, then it does wind up looking like it's kind of on fire on the inside of that thing. You can see how that's looking really bright compared to the rest of the pumpkin. So it gives that illusion like it's lit up inside. I didn't have any orange for this pumpkin, so I wound up using a mixture of some a little bit of yellow that I had with some burnt sienna and that ochre yellow. Kind of give me some brighter colors, some orangish-like colors, which works out great for a pumpkin. Doesn't have to be bright orange. Just touching up the edges, getting it right to the edge, because I don't want the black outlines on the inside of the teeth and the eyes, because I want it to look like that glow is kind of pushing its way past the insides of the pumpkin. This is where I go back and highlight that mid-ground a little bit along the way. And get a little shadow underneath the pumpkin here so that it has a little bit more contrast. Makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. And I'm going to brighten up that blue a little bit there. Okay, I hated that background that I had in there, so I'm going back in. This is with oils. And I'm going to paint some cemetery gates here. This does not have to be clean. It actually looks way more haunted when the edges are a little bit raggedy, when the lines are not very straight. And it's just black. And I have it watered down a bit with mineral spirits so it lays down nicely. Want it to look like, again, that it's off in the distance and that the mist or the fog is kind of covering the bottom of the gate. That's why I brush that in there so it doesn't have clean edges. I'm going to do that with some gravestones and some pumpkins in that kind of dead space in the middle there. Same exact approach though. Leave the bottoms unfinished so it looks like they're covered in fog. You can't quite see through them. We don't want very sharp lines because we want to set it off in the background a bit. And that's about it.